Oleg is having dinner with his date, Elena. Their date begins with a discussion of Oleg's military career and family. In Oleg's apartment, their date ends in a passionate embrace. Meanwhile, a jet is on its way to land in Paris when it abruptly blacks out, resulting in an erratic descent. A worldwide blackout occurs, leaving only a circular area illuminated. After a while, Oleg discovers many drones outside his building that sound their alarms. Elena, and other residents congregate in the lobby to watch the emergency broadcast. All contacts with the majority of Russia have been severed, and the administration has provided no explanation for what is happening. The public is dissatisfied with the ambiguous report. Oleg tries to phone his father, but all communication is lost. Major Dolmatov leads the Irkun squad to the quarantine zone in Kirov. They uncover several dead bodies in a supermarket shop. They proceed to the residential units, where they discover a dinner on the table. Olya, a reporter accompanying the army, concludes that all of the residents appear to have been caught off guard and disrupted from their usual routines. Kolya is checking the upstairs bedroom when a person pounces on him, alerting his teammates with gunfire. The intruder fled the building after taking Kolya's firearm. The troops open fire on the fleeing enemy, but they can't get him. The squad, together with the injured Kolya, returns to their base and reports no traces of civilian survivors. A month later, no contact has been made with the quarantine zones, and millions have been proclaimed missing. The government urges its population to keep calm, but the citizens are enraged. Many religious organizations gather, convinced that the world is coming to an end. Yura receives a letter one day instructing him to report for induction into the armed forces. This disheartens him because it would require him to abandon his ailing mother. Next, Lieutenant Colonel Osmolovskaya meets the soldiers at the Kirov region outpost. The Circle of Life, the remaining territory with light and electricity, is primarily found in Russia and its neighbors. Some hosts have been recorded to live in quarantine zones, and recovered bodies have shown symptoms of poisoning caused by human bodies. Osmolovskaya reveals their two main goals: data collection and deep penetration into quarantine zones. Because there are few resources, the population must retake their territory. She confesses that entering the quarantine zone is risky because earlier dispatched recon teams never returned. Still, she stresses the importance of determining why this occurs. That evening, Oleg and Yura are standing outside as a truckload of medical supplies arrives, accompanied by Elena, who turns out to be a military doctor. Her and Oleg's reunion is cut short when the alarm goes off, summoning the soldiers for battle. Osmolovskaya tells them over the radio that numerous hostiles are closing in from 3 kilometers out. The entities emit electric signals, move at 20 kilometers per hour, and appear to be larger than humans. To see through the darkness, the troops sent flares into it. Osmolovskaya counts down the distance of the hostiles, and as it reaches 150 meters, Major Dolmatov bellows to open fire just as a herd of bears charges at breakneck speed. The next morning, Yura recovers an injured Oleg from behind a dead bear. Osmolovskaya, in an unusual turn of events, reveals the existence of the censors to Major Dolmatov. Censors are people who survive the first wave and develop psychic talents. She feels that the censor imprisoned at the military hospital can assist them in identifying answers. Sasha, the censor, awakens from a vision of an unknown being to find a visitor beside his bed. The guest introduces himself as Zhenya and reveals that an individual named Id summoned him. Zhenya describes the disaster's steady progression, with the first wave destroying technologies and the second robbing mankind of their will. The third wave is going to be a complete disaster, and to avoid this, Id seeks Sasha's assistance in locating the mastermind. Sasha yells at Zhenya to leave, drawing the attention of the soldiers stationed outside his door. He instructs them to pull Zhenya out of his chamber, knowing that he is the only one who can see him. When Oleg is recovering, he and Yura discuss about their families. Yura's mother doesn't respond to his calls, but he is relieved by his neighbor's assurance that she is fine. Oleg, on the other hand, has lost communication with his family in Samara. He admits that despite being his mother's favorite, he entered the military to placate his father. Yura is shortly sent to Kirov. Olya questions Yura inside the car, asking him why he joined the military. He explains that before joining the army, he worked as a cab driver. Thinking that the camera is turned off, Yura says that he is not upset by the catastrophe since it has given his life meaning. He was a nobody as a civilian, but being in the military gives him purpose. Later, they arrive at the destination. The soldiers uncover a catastrophic situation outside. The finding causes another wave of hysteria among the citizens, who fear they are at war. People resort to crime and violence, causing chaos. The government sends small recon teams deep into Kirov to secure a foothold and set up observation posts in order to re-establish control. Traveler Team 7, along with Yura and Olya, obtains admission through the woods, while Team 4 with Oleg scouts the boundaries of a small village. A soldier from Team 4 opens a truck and is stabbed when steel rods pour out of it. As night falls, Team 7 seeks refuge in an abandoned house. Elena arrives at Team 4's position in the morning to check on the injured soldier. Meanwhile, Yura from Team 7 spots a store across the street with its door open. He checks Olya's videotape from the night before and confirms it was closed previously. It discloses his half-cloaked existence to Sasha outside the military hospital. When Sasha believes he is hallucinating, it affirms that he is physically present. It tells him that surviving the first wave has given him the psychic power to track down the person responsible for the mind control. Sasha confirms seeing the mind controller in his vision but refuses to assist in locating him. It exposes his alien-like face to persuade him. Osmolovskaya approaches and is immediately on alert at the sight of the intruder. Meanwhile, Team 7 searches the store for evidence of intruders. They devised a trap to set up an ambush after detecting no traces of movement. At gunpoint, Osmolovskaya hoists an id and orders her men to shoot if he moves. It conjures up a hallucination that causes her men to train their weapons on her, effectively appeasing her. It reveals that millions of other species will soon appear and annihilate humanity. Id, on the other hand, claims to be on the human side. When the lieutenant asks who he is, he says he is God. Someone triggers Team 7's trap in the store that night. Before leaving, Yura instructs Olya to activate the signal flares if anything goes wrong. The purple flare requests assistance, while the red flare indicates their demise. The squad discovers an unconscious adolescent on the store's floor. They carry on back to their refuge after determining that there are no major injuries. It announces that radiation turned the people into mindless puppets. He ordered the irradiation of Earth, but only the area around Russia was spared. It reveals that their species aims to invade Earth because the Sun is a young star that will be habitable for eons. Wave 0 of colonization began with a biological attack aimed at suppressing the planet's life forms. As those beyond the circle strike within, the third wave of colonization will occur. Their colony ships, known as the Armada, will arrive tomorrow. It reveals that Wave 0 enabled their species to eradicate the developed race on Earth. The soldiers at Team 7's base diagnose the child with a slight concussion. When the child regains consciousness, Maxim interrogates him. The child sobs as he recalls going to the shop for groceries, believing he was the sole survivor. The child then inquires if Maxim is in charge. When Maxim affirms, the boy pulls out a knife from his jeans pocket and stabs him in the neck. Yura shoots him down before he can do any more harm. Then it discloses that Wave 0's ultimate weapon is mankind itself, which explains why humans resemble its species. They produced humans by genetically altering them for breeding and violence, transforming them into a virus that spread and finished their objective sooner than intended. Teamsters detect people approaching them in the quarantine zones. Chaos ensues on both sides of Team 4 and 7 when the mob rains fire on them. In the midst of the firing, Elena tries to help an injured soldier. Oleg tries to stop her, but Elena insists on helping him. The soldiers on both teams do their utmost to stay hidden while the enemy's firing continues unabated. Meanwhile, it recalls being in a smaller ship that was dispatched ahead of the Armada. They were to rule over humanity and welcome the Armada. It assumes he was the lone survivor for the past 200,000 years since their arrival. He aims to kill Ra and destroy the mindless puppets now that Ra controls the minds of people infected by the radiation. However, he needs Sasha's ability to find him. Before she can decide whether to believe the assertions, the lieutenant receives a response concerning the ambush against the teams in Kirov. This forces her to take the risk. Back at Team 7, the remaining soldiers reassemble and continue exchanging fire. Under Yura's command, Olya fires the purple flame. In the outpost, Dolmatov notices a signal flare from Team 7, indicating a call or backup. However, more signal flares fill the sky, with numerous purple and a few red flares. The Major deems it as the beginning of a war. Osmolovskaya continues to question it on the trip to the outpost, accompanied by Zhenya and Sasha. It discloses that he can live forever if no one kills him. Their species has the ability to alter cells and cure ailments. It cured Zhenya of his cerebral palsy, earning his trust. As soon as they arrive, Osmolovskaya sets up a room where Sasha can concentrate on locating Ra using his psychic gift. After witnessing many signal flares and knowing there will be no backup, Team 7 decides to go where Team 4 is because it is the closest. Meanwhile, it guides Sasha through the psychic journey. In a deep trance, Sasha paints a skyscraper in Kirov, revealing the presence of Ra. Knowing Ra's location, they quickly plan to go there. When the Major asks what's going on, it gives him a shortened version of what he told the lieutenant. Just then, a soldier reports the assassination attempt on Moscow and the breakdown of communication. Along the Ulya, the remaining troops of Team 7 move quietly over the terrain. Ulya hears a woman sobbing for help, but Yura shoots her down before she can do anything. Ulya cries in agony, but Yura reminds her of the innocent-looking boy who murdered the lieutenant. They are about to leave when they are suddenly targeted by gunfire. The men answer the fire, quickly dispersing to take shelter. Yura's comrades are soon overpowered, and Yura is stabbed during a confrontation with an enemy. Sasha informs it on the way to Kirov that Ra saw him in his vision. It informs him that staying on the outpost is safer for him, and Sasha agrees. Meanwhile, Yura and Olya arrive across the garage, where Olya discovers an operational automobile. On the way to Kirov, Osmalovskaya inquires if Sasha is in the other car. It quickly responds that Ra knows where Sasha is and that they cannot afford to take the chance. The lieutenant comes to a halt and instructs her men to return to the outpost. Many missiles, however, strike the outpost, obliterating the area in minutes and killing all of the soldiers, including Sasha. Osmalovskaya screams violently at Id, blaming him for the deaths. It is convinced that the sacrifice will save many lives. Yura and Olya quickly arrive at Team 4's location and are greeted by Oleg, who confirms that neither side is hostile. Team 4 has sustained casualties and is running low on ammo. Their communication with the headquarters and the outpost is broken. The convoy from the outpost comes a few minutes later, bringing them relief. The comfort is short-lived, however, when the Major reveals that they are heading to Kirov to destroy the enemy's command. It telepathically interacts with Yura inside the armored tank, reflecting on how the war aroused Yura's true essence, making him stronger than the others. The convoy arrives at the armed mob after traveling in silence. They keep going till they get to the skyscraper where Ra is. It leads a small group of soldiers, including Yura, up the skyscraper, leaving the others to deal with the mob. When the ammunition runs out, the Major instructs the others to pursue the first group while he and the other men take cover. Oleg, Osmalovskaya, Elena, Olya, and Zhenya dash upstairs. Yura leads Id to the rooftop after losing the rest of his crew, where they encounter Ra and it orders Yura to attack. Ra smoothly propels him through the building, leaving him to hang on for his life. Id and Ra fight each other, utilizing their superhuman talents, but Ra gets the upper hand. As a truck of gasoline crashes into them, the squad protecting the entrance is quickly enveloped in flames. Just as Yura is about to crawl back to safety, it overpowers Ra and takes a device from his chest, allowing Yura to insert a grenade, immediately killing Ra. The final set of survivors makes it to the top just in time. It walks along the building's edge, closing his eyes. The mob below collapses as one. Osmalovskaya asks it about the following steps. It instructs them to perform what they were intended to do, kill. He informs them that the war has strengthened them to the point that they are a threat to its kind. He describes how Ra saw how violence devastated humanity and decided to develop a religion based on love. Ra thought that the conflict would end and love would reign supreme, but their violent nature endured. Religion has become a justification for further conflict and killing. When the Armada arrives, it orders them to slaughter the rest of his kind. Realizing that he could have stopped the radiation, Zhenya questions it why he didn't. It acknowledges he didn't want to derail his strategy. He ultimately confesses his intention, to use them to establish a new civilization with him as their god. Zhenya, feeling guilty for assisting him, declares that it is the devil, not God. It declares himself to be the god they deserve. Elena raises her gun at Id, but Yura defends him. Yura believes it is their only hope of surviving the Armada. Zhenya attempts to stab Id but instead kills the lieutenant as it waves his illusion. Oleg confronts Id, but Yura defends the alien, leading to a brawl between the former allies. Oleg keeps Id at gunpoint after Olya shoots Yura, so Id conjures a hallucination of Oleg's father to distract him. Zhenya takes advantage of the opportunity to push ID and himself off the building. They all plummeted to their deaths together. At that precise moment, the Armada emerges and lands a few feet away. Oleg discovers the device removed from Ra's chest. A boardwalk cuts through the ship, but no one emerges. Oleg, Elena, and Olya arrive, leaving Yura slumped in defeat. Upon entering, the Ra device illuminates, and the surrounding pipelines burst with bright green liquid, causing capsules all throughout the ship to pulse with life. Oleg deduces that the liquid is their only means of survival. He demonstrates this by shooting at several of the capsules, killing the organisms within as the liquid flows out. Oleg compares Ra's invention to the capsule, recognizing that both are timers used to wake up the aliens. Before the aliens awaken, the three resolve to cut the pipelines that connect each capsule. When Elena reaches the last set of tubes, she notices that the residents are all children. The three pause before endangering young lives until time runs out. The alien children awaken one at a time and form a queue in front of them. Oleg drops his rifle in defeat after seeing hundreds of alien youngsters and the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit